Well, Channel 9 has kept you updated on all the rising coronavirus case counts, but tonight we want to get right to a more pressing concern for local families.
That's absolutely right. Tomorrow marks April 1st, and we know that means rent and mortgage payments are due. Now, even before coronavirus, families were up against a lot to make these payments. Numbers we found from the last State of Housing report in Charlotte showed 45% of renter households here met the definition of cost burden. So what does that mean? Well, those are families who spend more than 30% of their income on housing. Channel 9's Mark Becker joins us live tonight. And Mark, times are just really hard out there for folks, and a lot of local families aren't even bringing in a paycheck, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right, Damani. And tomorrow, as you say, is the day that a lot of people may have to make a very difficult decision. They may have to decide whether they're going to continue paying rent or pay some other bills instead. The problem, as we talk with folks, though, is that if enough people don't or can't pay their rent, that doesn't make the problem any better. Willie Kennedy was hustling to make it to work on time. But what was really on his mind was the letter he'd just gotten from his apartment complex.
Well, I just got a letter a couple of weeks that they raised our rent to like $900-something, and it's $860.
If it's possible to speak with you or someone real quickly outside.
A woman at the office at Kennedy's apartment told me she hadn't heard anything from their corporate office, so for now that rent increase is on go.
But I'm just trying to say, in a crisis situation, shouldn't they waive rent or void that out until at least we can get back to normal?
Kennedy is still working, but many who aren't will have trouble finding the money to pay rent starting tomorrow.
For the time being, landlords can't take them to eviction court, but
Isaac Sturgill with Legal Aid of North Carolina says Congress has passed a 4-month moratorium on evictions, but it'll be tough on renters when that runs out.
what we're expecting is a huge surge of eviction cases once this temporary freeze on hearings is lifted.
On the other side, landlords are facing challenges too.
The fact that people are looking at landlords to make some sort of exception to save the day in the midst of this, it's just not fair.
Michael Bowman manages about 500 properties for owners here and says he will keep collecting rent.
The average landlord can't afford to go a month without getting paid, just as much as the tenant is in a difficult bind at the moment. So it's difficult for all parties at the moment.
You see both sides of it there, and it's a difficult problem, as he says. Now, the National Apartment Association weighed in as well. They talked about that bailout bill that's come from Washington, including that 120-day moratorium on evictions. They say, as it's written, that doesn't solve the problem either, because the landlords do have bills coming due as well. Damani?
Well, Mark, there are really no winners at all in this. Thank you so much for that report. Well, Governor Roy Cooper is offering a little more help for families, at least when it comes to deciding between bills or housing payments. His executive order bans utilities from shutting off service to people who are unable to pay, and that's in effect for 60 days. The order also encourages banks to not charge overdraft fees. Now, we know many of you are looking for help as you struggle to pay rent and other bills. Well, thankfully, generous donors have given more than $13 million to the Help Sharmek Fund. Now, that money is going to nonprofits that can help you, and we have links to resources right on our WSOC TV app.
And we'll get back to our coronavirus coverage here in just a minute, but first, I want to bring in Chief Meteorologist Steve Udelson. And Steve, you've been tracking rain pretty much all day.
Yeah, it's been trying, and that's the problem, Susanna. It's just trying. We really haven't seen all that much. And we'll talk about the ramifications of that a little bit later with John Ahrens. I want to show you our Charlotte Tower Cam right now. You see the cloudy skies. It looks like it wants to rain. There's a pretty hefty batch of rain trying to move on in, but it is having a really tough time and working its way into the Carolinas and especially into the Charlotte area. Here's the reason. We talked about this yesterday. Exceptionally dry air. Humidity is about 60-65%. To put some perspective on that, you'd need about 70% to produce just even mainly cloudy skies and about 90% to see anything in the way of meaningful rain. There's a look at our live early warning Doppler 9. You don't see much in the way of rain. On toward Richmond County, some light rain, but that's really going to be about it. I'll show you how soon we'll get the sun back and whether we'll see any pollen relief at all.
All right, Steve, thanks. We've got a sad update in the last 15 minutes. We learned someone in York County died from COVID-19. Now, the state hasn't released any information about that patient. It's one of 4 additional deaths announced in South Carolina today, bringing that total to 22. There are more than 1,000 cases statewide. Late this afternoon, the South Carolina governor ordered all non-essential businesses to close tomorrow.
In North Carolina, there are nearly 1,500 reported cases. Take a look at your screen here, and sadly, 8 people have died. Mecklenburg County has the most cases at 418. While healthcare workers are on the front lines treating patients with and without the virus. Now, we learned employees at 2 local medical offices tested positive. One works at Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat in South Park. And at Ortho Carolina in Elizabeth, a second doctor has now tested positive. Channel 9's Deshaun Brown is looking at what the offices are doing to protect other staff and patients.
This Charlotte Eye, Ear, Nose, and Throat office in the South Park area and Ortho Carolina Foot and Ankle in Elizabeth are both now dealing with a confirmed case of COVID-19 among its staff, and both offices are still open. In the South Park office, a spokesperson confirms the employee works in the eye department and hasn't been at work since March 25th. The practice sent this email to all its patients, and it says those who came into contact with the staffer will be contacted. At Ortho Carolina Foot and Ankle, a spokesperson confirmed a doctor tested positive over the weekend. The last time that doctor was in the office was 10 days before the positive test. On March 17th, Channel 9 reported a different doctor at Ortho Carolina tested positive. In both cases, Channel 9 has heard from anonymous viewers, staff, and their families concerned with how these offices are being cleaned to protect others from the virus. Charlotte Ear, Nose, and Throat sent us a statement saying it's doing more enhanced cleaning, limiting and screening visitors, restricting business-related travel, and asking staff traveling back from hotspots to self-quarantine for 14 days. Ortho Carolina told me cleaning procedures have been amped up, and they're talking to every patient before their visit to screen them for symptoms. I also checked with the Department of Health and Human Services and asked what should someone do if they work in a workplace that has experienced a confirmed positive test and also have concerns for their safety. And I'm told you should at least report it to Human Resources and, if necessary, the Department of Labor. Back to you.
And also tonight, we confirmed that workers at 2 different local Lowe's stores tested positive. One works at the North Lake location and was there on the 24th. The other works at the Valentine location and last worked on March 23rd. Lowe's stores are staying open. One anonymous Lowe's employee said thousands of people come to shop daily, getting way too close to each other. The state considers hardware stores essential because they sell critical supplies. Well, Lowe's is installing plexiglass for cashiers, cleaning more often, and asking customers to maintain a safe distance. Well, Novant Health says that they have seen a dramatic shift in how doctors are caring for patients. What doctors say, because of the COVID-19 outbreak, from March 20th through the 26th, they have done more than 11,000 virtual medical visits.
We used to be seeing 15, 20, 25 patients a day in person in the office. At this point, we're seeing a handful of patients per day in the office, and mostly managing patients through video visits and electronic communication.
Doctors say the virtual visits allows them to better prepare in case there is a surge in cases in the community.
Basketball nets zip-tied, tennis courts locked, and mounds of dirt making it impossible for you to play. Mecklenburg County is now taking new steps to prevent people from breaking the stay-at-home order. Reporter Joe Bruno asked if this would happen after we saw parks packed this weekend. He joins us now to explain the changes.
If you saw the press conference over the weekend, you probably expected this. Changes are coming to Mecklenburg County parks. For now, the focus is on outdoor sports. Officials tell me the county is going to take down volleyball nets, lock tennis and basketball courts, and zip-tie basketball nets. The county also plans to put up signs saying playgrounds are closed and heavily monitor sports courts. The changes were just announced before noon today, and we've already seen them in effect in some places. Over in West Charlotte at Tuckasegee Park, the basketball nets are zip-tied and there is a giant pile of dirt on the court to prevent people from playing. The tennis courts are also zip-tied so no one can access them. In Dilworth at Freedom Park, the volleyball nets have been taken down. The tennis nets have been lowered, the courts zip-tied and locked. We even spotted swings tied together so people don't use them. Just like at Tuckasegee Park, the basketball nets at Freedom Park are zip-tied. The changes are still rolling out. Some places look pretty much the same. At Hornets Nest Park in North Charlotte, for example, we spotted signs saying the playground is closed, but the basketball and volleyball nets are still standing. These are the only changes that have been announced so far, but yesterday a county commissioner told me that the county health director can change the hours of the parks or order their closure if needed. Back to you.
It's been a bumpy start to online learning for many students in Cabarrus County. Multiple parents have contacted Channel 9 saying their children's online learning stopped abruptly with little explanation. Education reporter Elsa Gillis went to the county to get some answers.
Today is the second official day of virtual learning in Cabarrus County, with new instructions set to start April 6th. But there are already abrupt changes. Parents, students, and staff shared messages from the district saying virtual learning would include live audio-video conferences with students. But last night, parents and students started getting messages from teachers saying those live sessions would stop until further notice. They didn't get an explanation, so they reached out to Channel 9. We obtained an email that was sent to principals. It says, "We are requiring all educators to hit pause with the use of recommended live audio-video conference platform, Microsoft Teams." The email said they learned of some deficiencies related to proper use. I reached out to district communications to get some answers. A district rep sent me a statement that says in part, "Our district is continuing to evaluate live audio-video platforms. It is important to remember that this is all new territory. We also want to ensure that all of our teachers have been trained on using the various platforms before launching into live classroom instruction." I did speak with a teacher who shared that many teachers are frustrated that they spent time prepping and learning how to use the live conferences only to be told to stop. As to when the live sessions will be back, we'll continue checking with the district. But I am told that learning is still happening via other platforms like Google Classroom and Canvas. Back to you.
The constant flow of serious information can really start to weigh on you. And that's why we've been looking for positivity throughout our community. And we've found some that we would love to share with you. Someone has been going around spray painting the rocks outside of CMS schools with these bright colors and uplifting messages. Messages like, be safe, be strong, all in this together, and stay home, stay safe, and stay kind.